Think about the mainstream media today, it's very difficult to believe literally anything that's being reported. We've seen time and time again the fact that apparently over here in number 10 Downing Street there is some kind of super injunction, a secret deal, Keir Starmer secret that apparently the media know about alongside many other sites, but because of some kind of agreement we're not being told exactly what it is. And even in the Prime Minister's question time last week, allegedly he made some kind of joke which people found it very funny. But what is the secret that we're not being told? And more importantly, what's the secret behind him and the BBC? Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. How are you? I'm all right, thank you. Yes, we're in the very heart of Downing Street. And for many people who know, just thrilled to let you know that Larry, the Downing Street cat, is very much with me today. A little bit sulky, doesn't want to be on camera much, but I've got a little bit of footage for you. Of course, it's always good to share, isn't it? Absolutely. Larry looks a bit put out. I think he's just fed up of the changeover all the time, don't you? He must wonder, who are these people stomping over my house? You'd be the same, wouldn't you? Yes, you've got it just settled and somebody new moves in. It's not very nice. No, let's get back to your story of the day. On a more serious note, this happened this week. Apparently 100 days of the brand new Labour Party, and we voted, well, some voted for change, of course, and change apparently is what they gave us. The fact that, well, it's not been the very best of 100 days, whatever you may think, didn't stop the BBC sitting down for around about 15 minutes with the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. And this was for their podcast, simply called Newscast. Now, let me just explain exactly what I think about how this works, because the BBC are very, very keen to spend your money. That is, the few people now that are spending or putting through the licence fee. Let me point that out. You see, it took around about 10 people to produce this particular broadcast. Don't quite know what they do, but they're all getting credited. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the big debate before the broadcast started was whether the Prime Minister, Sir Keir, should in fact wear a tie or not wear a tie. I'm guessing that depends if Lord Ali had actually sent a free tie through. You know, let's just put that out there. Anyway, he opted to go tieless because apparently this makes him sound and look more approachable. Now, what did we learn from this particular broadcast? Well, there was nothing about the debacle and the P&O fiasco that the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, and the Transport Manager, Louise Hayde, had just done by losing all of that deal. Yes, I know it's now been partly brought back, but at a cost of yet we don't know. I'll leave that there. Of course, they didn't have time also to discuss the fact that they've ripped away the winter fuel allowance from all the old age pensioners this year. No, that wasn't up for discussion either. And we didn't also have time to talk about the freebies, the free pass for Lord Ali, and indeed all the Taylor Swift shenanigans resulting in her getting a personal outrider, which is normally only associated, say, with the Prime Minister or senior members of the British monarchy. So what did we get for those 10 minutes from the BBC? Well, absolutely nothing. Apparently it was choppy waters, and the most, well, incredible highlight really was he didn't mind now living in Downing Street because he got to see more of his children, and normally they just talked about borrowing his football boots. Riveting stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. So where does this leave the BBC? Well, after the debacle, of course, of Clive Myrie being caught out swearing at a public event, they're now leading broadcaster following the departure of Hugh Edwards. And let's not forget that Hugh Edwards is still not giving back his money that they just frittered away in a moment of insanity. Well, nowhere. Now, in defence of the BBC, I can tell you how this would have worked. He agreed to come on air for 10 minutes to talk about his spectacular success of 100 days, and they agreed some pre-arranged questions. Nothing was not agreed in advance, whatever these two broadcasters say. Either way, that was a very expensive PR exercise. No secrets were revealed, and once again, we've learnt nothing about the inside debacle that's going on in number 10. And that's exactly how the mainstream media, and some say this particular governing party right now, want it to remain. Neil Shawn, 10 Downing Street, London.